Aria Decor. Thank you so much for purchasing this wreath kit. I truly appreciate it, and I hope you have fun putting this together. We're going to be making a mesh wreath today. Our focal point is a sign in the shape of a cute little house that says, "Gather here with grateful hearts." Now this is MDF wood. It comes with your kit. Your kit also comes with the wreath frame, 2 rolls of mesh. You have 1.5-inch ribbon, 2 2.5-inch ribbons, and then 2 of these really fun picks with all these little pumpkins on there. So adorable. You're also going to find in your kit 2 of these cable tie mounts as well as 3 pipe cleaners. We're going to use 2 of these to attach the sign, and 1 pipe cleaner will be for the bow. What we're going to do today is to start off by cutting our mesh. So I'm going to move all the items off to the side. As we go through this video, if you find that there are spots where you would like to fast forward, please do so. I am going to record this in real time, not sped up, so that people can take the time to watch what they need to watch, and they can keep this running as they cut items along with me. So I'm going to move all of this over to the side, and we're going to focus on our mesh. Now this is 10-inch mesh for both of these. This first one is a border stripe mesh. When I unroll it, you'll see that it does have some stripes on the borders, hence border stripe mesh, right? All right, I'm gonna open this one up. When I spread it out, you'll be able to see it's got some thicker bands right here at the top and the bottom. That's to add a little bit more visual interest. And then another one, this is one I have not worked with yet, but I think it is beautiful. This has orange, burgundy, sage, cream, and beige in it. So this is a deco poly mesh as well. We are going to use both rolls of this. Now this is 10-inch mesh. Each roll contains 10 yards. And there's different ways you can choose to cut your mesh. And I will illustrate those for you right now. Some people will cut it with scissors. However, I like to cut my mesh with a rotary tool, especially one that has a blade that goes to protect my finger. So this is a rotary cutter. I love this. You can do either way. Now I do have a mesh roller over here off to the side, which I love very much. That's Susie's triple stationary mesh roller. But not everybody has that. So what you can do is we want to cut this at one time so you can lay your mesh on top of each other, right? And just kind of like, okay, we're just going to roll it this way. You can drop it off the end of your table and you can just kind of pull it out this way. But if we lay it on top of each other, that way you are cutting the number of cuts you have to make into half. So for example, I would have this here. And I cut my mesh at 18 inches. So right here I can see 18. I'm going to roll this up. I'm going to cut that at 18. And then I like to put that off to the side. I do like to keep them layered. It does help me and make it go a lot faster when I am trying to put the mesh into the frame. So for right now, I'm going to put this on my mesh roller. Simply because I make so many of these, having this is incredibly helpful. And it also doubles to hold, it can hold ribbon, but also some smaller rolls of gift wrap. Okay, so it's running this through. So now I have, you see I've got my beige on the bottom and then my stripe on the top. I'm pulling it out. I'm going to cut the rest of this roll at 18 inches. I believe this should get me 18, possibly 19 pieces of mesh. And there are 18 spots on the work wreath, so it works out perfectly. So cut it at 18 inches. Okay. I'm going to cut a bunch here. Like I said, you get to the point where you want to fast forward, you've already done this, whatnot, please feel free to do so at any point during this tutorial. I like to take it nice and slow. I don't want to assume that anybody has any existing knowledge of wreath making or bow making. That way nobody feels left out. Okay, I'm going to start rolling these out. Now I still have some left to cut, but I'm going to just start basically stacking these right on top of each other. You don't have to do this. I just like to do it for myself. It keeps it nice and organized. Sometimes I'll grab a couple at once and you can just kind of roll it down and stack it. All right, here's another set. Or, you know, you can just cut it, let it fly where it may, and pick them up later. I've done that as well too. But I find if the mesh starts sticking to things, then I get frustrated, and I don't want to be frustrated. When I'm making something fun, like a wreath, it's supposed to be an enjoyable experience, right? We all want to do that. This is supposed to be relaxing and fun. Okay, now let's go cut the rest. Again, we're cutting at 18 inches. I'm cutting both at once. This is going to be a fun kit. Now, I have started buying more kits in bulk. I used to make just, you know, a couple here and there of certain things into a kit because I would find them at a good price at the warehouse sale, but there wasn't a large quantity. I have since decided I would like to start having a video for every kit that I put out. So that's why I have shifted the business to kind of expand it into more supplies. And that way most everything will have a video. Now I'm coming up to the edge here. You'll notice that it is stapled onto these mesh rolls. I'm going to just pull the staples out. And this one is taped. Now, save these mesh rolls. They can be very handy if you're packing items. Also, if you're saving some of the stems you cut off of things, you can put your stems right through there, and it holds all those stems really nicely. Just the extra little bits that you cut off of things. You know, the ones that look like this. Save them. You never know. All right. Now this last one, I should be able to get 18 inches. And then there will be some extra left. So let's see what we've got here. Okay, that's there. Cut this right there. Okay, and then just a little bit left. I'm going to throw away those scraps, which goes against everything I believe in, to hold on to everything. But at some point, we can't do anything with the rest of that. That was too little. Too little. Oops. Sorry. There we go. I'm going to lay this nice and flat. All right. Just a couple more to do, and then we will be ready to start putting this into our wreath frame. That is always the basis for this. You can also do a similar style. Instead of using one of those work forms that I've provided, you can always put this into an evergreen base. Those are fantastic for holding onto larger attachments. If you've got things that are weighty, they are very, very sturdy. You just wrap them in the branches. Okay, here we go. I have cut all of our mesh. I am going to take the mesh roller off the table to give us more room to work with. Okay, and I'm going to bring over the wreath form right here. Nope, and apparently the zip tie as well. We don't need that quite yet. Okay, so I'm going to put my frame over here, my mesh up here. I still want to keep something heavy on it, so I'm going to put that box of U-pins over there. Okay, so what we're going to do is create cruffles. We're going to put them in here. So we have, let's talk wreath frame. Okay, it's a double ring wreath frame. You'll see there's ones at the top here and ones at the bottom. That's meant to make it a nice big full wreath. You can also use 21-inch mesh to make poofs in here if you want to, but this one is just going to use 10-inch mesh. So on the bottom, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And on the top ring, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 18. I counted correctly for once in my life. Yay me. Okay. We're going to start off with our mesh. I'm just going to grab a set with 2 pieces, okay? So we're going to make cruffles. I'm going to start with the beige one, okay? Now you're going to see, as you cut it and you put it down, it wants to roll up and it wants to lay down. We are going to follow that, okay? We are not going to go against it. I'm going to see at the bottom here and the top, okay? No, don't go anywhere. Come back. I always do that, guys. I always do that. We're going to roll a little bit down from the top. So 1, 2, and roll a little bit up from the bottom. 1, 2. Okay, so you see we have it looks like this. If you look on the side, you see the cut ends are inside here, they're protected, so this is going to greatly reduce the amount of fraying that can occur with the mesh. Okay, so now that we have our little curls in, I'm gonna scrape it up the center, and we're gonna basically ruffle it up. So cruffle is curls plus the ruffle. Cruffle, there we go. So I like to start down, I'm gonna start on the bottom when I do these. So I'm gonna open up a set of these branches, and I'm just gonna set this one right in here. I'm just gonna twist it in there real quick, because we're gonna add our other one on top of it. Now here we're gonna do the same thing, but we're doing it with that striped mesh, okay? So I'm gonna curl up a little bit from the bottom and curl down a little bit from the top, okay? And then we're gonna scrape and ruffle it up the center. And now I'm gonna open these tines again, and I'm gonna put this in here. But I don't wanna put it directly on top of it, right? So we're gonna try to make an X shape a little bit so that we see, here's the brown, here's the striped, the brown, and then the striped, okay? That's how we're gonna do this. Now you can choose to alternate which one that you see on the top every time. So I could start the next time. We could decide to put the striped in and then the beige over on top of it. But I think I'm going to stick with what I have been doing throughout the whole wreath, because I really, really love this striped pattern. It's so pretty. So I'm going to start right now with the beige. Okay, and I'm going to cruffle this one up. Okay, put that in there just temporarily. I'm going to do the next one. This is what I'm going to do all the way around the bottom of the wreath. Scrape. So at this point, if you'd like to fast forward, this may be a good place for you to do so. Oops, I just lost my cruffle. There we go. All right. There we go. I'm going to move it around. I'm going to do the next one. There's another set. Curling up, curling down, cruffling up the middle. I'm going to set that in right in here. Honestly, it's a very easy way to make a nice fluffy base for your wreath. Okay, let's go with that one over that. Okay, there we go. It does go pretty quickly. Now, this is not the most exciting part of making a wreath, guys. It's not. But it's necessary, because if we don't do this part, we're not going to get the rest. Okay, so here we go. And you want to get it real tight, okay? You want to put that mesh as much against that metal frame as you can, because you don't want it to be loose and wonky, and then it'll be floppy. And you don't want these to move and be floppy, especially once you get all of your ribbon and everything in there. Nobody wants to be floppy. Okay, see how it's real nice and tight, and it's not flopping back, it's staying nice there. So far, this is kind of the width of what we've got. It is going to get much wider once we add on the top layer as well. Now, if you don't want a super fluffy wreath, you can always choose just to put one set of mesh in each pair of the branches instead of going with two. But we're going to go two, because go big or go home, right? That's what we like to do. I like putting together these kits because a lot of times people want to make a wreath, but they're not really sure what they all need. And they're not entirely sure if certain colors and ribbons and whatnot go together. So by having a kit, it makes it nice and easy. Everything you need, with the exception of, you know, your cutter, your tools, that kind of thing. But you've got all that. And you've got guidance on how to make it. And you can always make this your own as well. This kit does not come with florals. But you can get your own florals and add them in here. And that makes it nice and fun. You know, you can focus on the sage color, you can focus on the beige or the cream. No, don't go anywhere. With my luck, it's going to fall off the end of the table. Okay. Okay, here we go. Here's our ruffle coming up again. Hopefully I'm trying to monitor myself on my screen here to make sure that I'm not showing anything off screen. I kind of wish I had a larger table, but, you know, what you gonna do? I got what I got. Okay, the next set. Here we go. Pull this apart and do my beige. And you can always have cut these separately too. You can cut all your beige at once. You can cut all of your striped at once. You don't have to do it the way I did. Just make sure that you don't cut it any more than 18 inches. Otherwise, you're not going to have enough mesh to go around the wreath. You can always buy a third type of mesh if you want. I do sell some single supplies in my shop. I carry mesh, ribbon. I'm going to have some additional signs listed as well. Here we go. I'm not going to be able to fit my car in the garage because all these supplies are in my garage. The joys of a home business, huh? So here we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Ruffling up. Okay, and I'm just putting it in, holding it right in there. Again, just kind of rolling it down like 2 or 3 times. That'll do it, and it'll make it nice so we don't have to worry about fraying mesh. We don't have to be afraid of the fray. Right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Going up the middle. The reason I like to make wreaths is because I believe that crafting really gives you back a sense of control in your life. Things often can feel out of control, especially if you've got, got a lot going on in your personal life. So, I mean, this is, hey, I'm going to create this. I'm going to put this here. It's not going to move. It's going to follow exactly what you want it to do, hopefully. And sometimes if you've been through it, my motto is make pretty for pain. So if you've got emotional turmoil you've been through, it really helps just to quiet out the noise. You can sit here and think of, think through issues or just have some quiet time. Honestly, crafting is self-care. That's how I like to think of it. Crafting is self-care. Don't ever feel guilty for taking time to do this because it is great for your mental health. Unless you're trying to find a roll of ribbon that you know you have and you can't find it, and then it'll just drive you nuts. Okay, so this is now the last one. This is the 10th piece in the bottom. We still have the top to do, but let's take a look sideways. This is where we are at when you have it sideways. Okay, it's about, so far it's about, I would call it maybe 7 inches. Generously calling it 7 inches, okay? All right, now we're going to go in and we're going to do the same thing in the top. Again, if you've already gotten this far, you want to fast forward, you don't want to hear me yammer on, I won't be offended because I won't know you're doing it. So fast forward. But I just like to keep everything at a normal pace so that people don't have to keep starting and stopping the camera or, on their phone. I just like to be able to have people get in the zone, And this is a very pretty fall wreath. I like the house-shaped signs. I like the motto, gather here with grateful hearts. It's great for fall, but also it's definitely got some Thanksgiving vibes to it. And not everybody celebrates Halloween too. So, I mean, this can go up in September. Tomorrow, as I'm filming this, tomorrow will be September 21st, which I believe is the first day of fall. So, there we go. Fall is here. I still have to close the pool. That's all right. Because pumpkin spice everything is here. I do enjoy the pumpkin spice flavor. I don't drink coffee though, so I'm a freak of nature. I don't drink coffee, but I love all the pumpkin spice flavored stuff. It just makes it fun. Okay, rotate this around a little bit. There we go. Sometimes as you're putting it in, you might have to look and hunt underneath here. Oh, where did that one set of, I call them tines, but branches. It doesn't matter. Same thing. We're like, where did it go? Well, it's stuck underneath one of them. They do try to put these on that frame very evenly, but sometimes it can get a little wonky. Okay, it gets a little wonky sometimes, so it may not be perfectly the same amount of space between each set. You can, however, sometimes loosen them up with some pliers and move it down to where you want it to, and then kind of crimp it back in place. That is an option, but very rarely have I ever had to do that. It's usually when I get the frames that have that from, you can find similar frames to this at like Hobby Lobby, but the branches are thinner, and I find that things slide around more often, and it's just not as high quality as you would get as through buying from an importer and the frames that we get. All right. Put this in here. There we go. Rolling it up. Rolling it down. Just doing a lot of rolling. Rolling, rolling, rolling. Get those cruffles rolling. Get them into your wreath right now. Okay, I won't say any more, I promise. Okay. And here's the last section. Whew. Boy. How are you guys hanging in there? You doing okay? You doing all right? If you need to stop this and take a break too, please don't feel like you have to make this all in one day. You know, your back might hurt. Mine hurts already. If you want to stop and take a break, by all means do so. Crafting should never be painful unless you're working with the hot glue gun. And then, look, you're going to get burned. It's just going to happen. It's going to happen. All right. Scrape it up. Here we go. All right, just a couple more sets to go. I forgot one over here, guys. See, do you see? I told you sometimes it's easy to kind of find them and forget one. I forgot a set over there on the other side, so let me go put that in there now. I'm like, wait, did I count too many? No, I'm just a dork, and I missed one. And that's okay. All right, hold in there for a second. I really like this mesh. I actually have ordered more of it. I should have 23 more of these kits available. I think I'm releasing them in sets of 6 at a time, just to make sure that I've got enough of the frames and whatnot. But I just ordered enough to be able to make sure that I could do the one I'm making minus 24. So 24 minus 1. Let me get out my calculator. Beep, 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 beep. Ooh, that would be 23. You guys know me at all. You know math is not my thing at all. So anytime I mention numbers, question me. Okay, go. Coming close to the end. All right. Scrape the middle. Here we go. Still making sure we kind of put them in there in a little bit of a, you know, neck shape. See, you want to see some of the beige, you want to see some of the stripe. Okay, last set. And I do have one extra set left over because I knew we were going to have 19. So I'm going to toss that behind me so I don't keep convincing myself that I forgot some. All right. And then we can talk about where we're going to put our sign next. And then we get into putting on the ribbons and then the bow. All the fun stuff is coming up. You've done the real hard work now by getting this frame put together. Okay, so let's go have fun. Okay, all right. Here we go. This is our finished wreath. It is currently measuring about 26 inches wide, and in depth, we are talking about 8 inches, okay? So once we get a bow on here, it's probably going to stick out a little bit further. And like I said, if you wanted something that didn't stick out so high, just simply omit maybe the beige ruffles on the top, and then you just have one set of ruffles on the top, okay? So now what we're going to do is look at where we're going to place some of these elements. So how I typically like to do it is I like to have a bow over on the left-hand side. And then we're going to have our sign over here on the right, and then we're going to have our ribbon tails coming out. And then we will take we have 2 of these, and you see how there's multiple pieces? We're basically going to pull them apart, so we'll have 3 on each. So we'll have 6 pieces in these total that we can kind of glue in or open up these tines, kind of put those in there, glue it, and then close it back up, because I do like to make sure everything is as secured as possible. All right, so now let's focus on putting our sign on here. So I'm going to move the wreath off the table for just a moment, and we're going to talk 2 different methods of how to attach your sign. Okay, so I have 2 pipe cleaners. Now I have provided you with these cable tie mounts. You can choose to use them or you cannot. If you are going to use them, what you would do is take a tube of the glue called, I'm trying to find my tube, E6000. I don't know where my tube went. Uh-oh. Here it is. You would, I'm so sorry. You're seeing my face. Nobody needs to see that. You would take your E6000, okay? And you would attach that on here, and then you would put it down right here, okay? So they'd be all glued. So the E6000 has to cure for a while. So what we do in the meantime is that we would take our hot glue gun and we would trace around it, going and making sure that we're getting glue on both the sign as well as the black cable tie mount. You go around that in a square, and then that'll hold on there. And that hot glue is basically temporary until the E6000 holds up, right? That's going to take a little while. What I also like to do, however, is to take my staple gun. This is my personal preferred method. Remember before when I told you about holding on to these extra tubes? So what I'm going to do is cut a bit of a strip. We'll cut this way. Okay, because I like to staple things when I can. Okay, and I'm going to cut, about, talking like about 1.5 inch squares or so. Okay, just going to cut a little bit of this tube. Okay, bend it forward. All right, cut it there. Okay, I'm just going to cut it into 4 pieces. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, I have a staple gun. Now my staples are a little bit longer than the sign, so I don't want the staples to come through. So what I do is I take these squares, I'm going to flatten them out, just push them down a little bit. I flatten them out, and I'm going to staple the pipe cleaner right on to here twice. 1, 2, and I'll do the same on the other side. Make sure they're evenly spaced, right? You don't want to make them level. Okay. 1, 2. Okay. And then now I can just go back and cut off. This rope really is meant just to hang it for display. It's not really a good idea to try to hang your sign from that unless you're going to secure it another way, because then it's going to shake, go side to side. If the wind gets under it, it'll be an issue. So we don't want to do that. Okay, so now we have our sign. And now I'm going to go move my staple gun over to the other side. Let's bring our wreath back. I'm bringing Wreathy back. Yeah. Okay, here we go. I'm going to try to figure out how we're going to put this on here. So we're going to have our bow. Let's figure this out. You can put it on here and you can have this thing kind of like sideways, right? You can kind of put it down toward the bottom. You can put this up at the top, and then you can have your bow down at the bottom. Now, I kind of actually am thinking that might be cute. I kind of might want to go that route. with the bow. So we're going to have the sign up at the top, and then we'll have our bow and everything coming down at the bottom. Or you could put this down to the bottom, but the reason I don't want to put it at the bottom is if you put a bow here, it's going to cover the cute top of the house, and we don't really want to do that. But if I put it over here, it's going to kind of be on an angle, which I guess could be okay. You can angle it up, you can angle it down. I don't know. It's kind of your choice as to how you want to do it. I will still show you how to make a bow that would work for both of these methods. Okay. I think honestly, I like the idea of putting it kind of up at the top and then having the bow down at the bottom. Okay, so that'll work. But then what I want to do is get our ribbon tails in here, and then I'm going to put the sign on. Okay, and then we'll use the extra. So what we're going to do is move this to the side. I have a ribbon tail board, so this is an easy way to do it. This one came from Hot Mesh Mom, but we're going to cut our tails at 14 inches long, okay? And I need 18 of each at 14 inches long. I am also going to include the 1.5 inch ribbon in this because I think that just is going to add some more fullness because this kit did not come with florals. If you're not putting any of your own florals in here, this will kind of help fill it out really pretty. So we are going to do that. So let's start right now by cutting the sage. Now, I'm going to cut it in 10 and 8, right? I'm going to group it. I can't wrap 18 pieces around here and cut it and get a nice cut, okay? So it's 14 inches. You can just choose to measure it out on a board like this and cut one by one. Or if you have a ribbon tail board, 14 inches is great, okay? So I'm going to wrap it around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'm going to cut this right off there. That's 10. Okay, I'm going to slide that out. Now you see how it's got where we slid it in? We're going to put our scissors right through there, okay? So we've got it marked for us. We're just going to slide it down one end. Okay, and then a little piece will come out. And we're going to slide it on the other. Okay. Now we have 2 groups of 5. What we're going to do is dovetail it. So dovetailing means you're going to take all of your wired edge ribbon, you're going to line it up nice and straight as you can. Bend them all together so the wired edges are touching. We're going to come in and cut in an angle from the inside outward. There we go. Okay. And we're going to do that again on the other side. This is called dovetailing because it looks like the tail of a dove. There we go. Very pretty. I love how well this matches that sign too. I was worried until all the product came in that it wasn't going to match, but it matches perfectly. Okay, dovetailing again. Okay, so this is 10, but we still need 8 more. So let's keep going, friends. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and then we still have quite a bit left for our bow. All right, loving it. Got one side, other. There we go. I'm still in my head trying to play with where we're going to put the sign. I bet you thought I would have thought this out beforehand. Nope. Flying by the seat of my yoga pants, guys. That's how I do it all. Sometimes when you start making a project, until you get to that point where you're going to place items, your plan can change because things may not line up how you think they're going to, or you get a better idea. So don't be afraid to change things around. Don't be afraid to put your sign in a different place than I'm showing you here in this video, right? This, just because the kit came with these items doesn't mean you have to use it the exact same way that I am. You can substitute in a different ribbon if you like. It's just meant to be the basis, the starting point for how you want to make something for yourself. Now this next one, isn't that pretty? With all the leaves and this green color here, it pulls in the green, the sagey green from there in the house, and then it matches the green and the pumpkins. And the white brings out the white, so this is a perfect match for that sign. I love it. Okay, now let's there. Okay, we're going to start with 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I always feel like the count from Sesame Street when I'm doing that. One ribbon tail. Two ribbon tails. Yeah. I'll stop now. Hopefully you can't hear my daughter upstairs making a whole bunch of noise right now. She's having fun. Dovetailing the ends. Okay. Sometimes too you want to do a little if you got like a little bit of hairs or something, it wasn't quite the sharpest cut. You also don't have to cut them all at once. You can have less groups. If you're not getting a real sharp cut, then maybe just do this in groups of 3. Okay. I like to use these blue-handled scissors. These in particular, I believe I got from MB Crafts. It's my friend Max. And I do have an affiliate link to his shop. If you go look in my link tree, linktr.ee for Sweet Aria Decor, which is usually on my profiles, you will find a whole bunch of links for where I shop, where I get things from, all sorts of goodies. That way, if you find out where somebody gets their stuff from or how they do it, then you don't have to go searching yourself. Like, rely on other people to be guidance, you know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yay. Okay. Another thing you can do too, and we'll talk about it more with bow making, is if there's a 4-inch ribbon that you want to add to the back of this of your bow, by all means do it. 4-inch ribbon is phenomenal. It is a great way to elevate your designs. And then you don't really have to use it for tails. You can add a couple 4-inch tails here and there if you want to. If you really want to make one of those, you know, big fluffy over the top designs, those are fabulous for that. Don't be afraid of 4-inch ribbon. I spent a lot of years afraid to use it, and I don't know why. It didn't bite me. It didn't hurt me, you know, but I think it was because it costs a little more and you're a little bit more leery. You know, products have cost. But in the end, it's worth it. And a 4-inch roll of ribbon goes a long way. You can use it for multiple projects. Okay, that is it for, we got our 18 pieces of that. And now we're going to do our 18 pieces of this, which I love. So this is a scalloped edge ribbon. We in the biz call it fancy panty ribbon because it's got that little scalloped pattern on the edge. It reminds me of like the silky underwear from the 70s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's so pretty. I really love when I'm able to use this in projects. It comes in such a large variety of colors, and it works for like every holiday. I've used it for 4th of July, Easter, Christmas, you name it, every day. Okay, so now we're gonna dovetail this. There we go. Okay. And then dovetail on the other side. Now it is a little weird to dovetail this because it's not, the scallops don't always completely align when you're cutting it. So sometimes you might get like a weird jagged piece. Like for example, let's take a look at this one. You're gonna get a piece that has a little funky stuff sticking out. Just when you see it, just go boop. That's all you gotta do. Just give it a little bit of a haircut. Okay? Do that again here. I'm trying not to stick my belly in the frame. Sorry. If you see it, sorry. And I'm not putting my face in the frame because I'm hot and sweaty. You can look at my profile. That's a nice picture of me in makeup. Okay, and then I need 8 more of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, we're still gonna have enough for a pretty bow at the end. And now I'm actually kind of rethinking what we're gonna do with those pumpkin sprays, because now I think I might actually kind of put them in and have them coming out on either side of the bow. I think that's what I'm going to do instead of cutting it apart. See, I told you guys, this is how I change my mind as I'm working through something, right? And I've had this designed for weeks now. And now once I'm going to do it, I'm like, you know what? I think there's a better way to do it. And I think it would be easier for you too. That we don't have to cut so many pieces out of things. We can keep them together, wire it in, or make sure that it is, secured in by wrapping it in the branches. Okay. One and two. Okay. There we go. All right, all of our ribbon tails are cut. Extra off to the side. I'm cleaning up. I like to clean as I go. Then otherwise, you run the risk of finding little pieces of ribbon tail and whatnot in your design. Which, maybe it's like a hidden surprise, but, doesn't work well for me. Okay, I'm bringing the wreath frame back in. Okay. All right, now I'm going to bring our ribbon tails over because I like to have the wreath on the left and my ribbon tails on the right. Just because I'm right-handed, you may want to work a different way. Whatever works best for you. I'm going to move the sign behind me because I don't want to scratch it or have anything happen to it. Okay? And I'm also going to sit down because I'm tired. Okay, here we go. So how we're going to do this is, okay, put those up here. We're gonna layer these. We're gonna bring down one sage, and then we're gonna take one of the pattern, and then one of the fancy panty ribbon. Okay, we're gonna try to line it up as best we can. We're gonna fold it in half. Okay, fold it in half. Make a crease. This crease is gonna tell you where we're gonna gather it up the center. Okay, so you can see right here. There is the crease. And we're just going to gather it up, pinch, 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 pinch. Pinch it like this, okay? Now, I like to start on the bottom, usually, but I'm going to show you, it's easier for me to show you going from top down right now. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to open up this set, and you notice, it's not popping out, nothing's boing coming out at me, right? It's mesh, and it's kind of learned to crush a little bit, so it's staying in there. I just set it right in, okay? Push it down, and then do a tight, I like to twist it twice, okay? Now on the top, I spread them out differently than I do on the bottom, okay? So on the top, we're gonna try to make, because we're gonna fill this out, we're gonna try to make like an X, okay? So I'm going like this, I spread out, and then I like to put the 1.5 in the middle. So we're making X shapes, okay? The sage is on the left on the top, and it's on the right on the bottom. Okay? Okay, because down here, we're going to do a bit of a different shape. Okay? But this is how I kind of like to do it on the top. Or you can decide, if you want to, you can just twist the whole thing. And you could go like this on the top, if you like to as well. Well, maybe we'll try that. You know what? Let's try that. I'm going to do it this method. All right? There we go. All right, I'm going to go to the next one. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to do just what we just did. And if you wanted to, you could stack all of your ribbons and fold them ahead of time before we get to this point. I just find it's less work if I just stack them all up and then put it right in. All right, twist and twist. Maybe we're going to do one sideways and then one up and down. Let's see what that looks like. It's all trial and error. See what works for you. All right. Now let's compare the two. Let's look at the different types we've got here. I'm going to call the one on the left, I'm going to call this the up and down. Okay, this is the up and down. And then this is the sideways. So you got to see what you really like for yourself. I'm actually kind of, because the bottom is going to be going that way, I kind of like this because it's going to help fill in the center. So I'm going to go back, and I'm just going to twist it this way. A little twist, and boom. We're back to matching. See? And I didn't even have to take it out. You just kind of like twist a little bit, and boom, there it goes. I like that because we're bringing up the tails higher into the center because we're going to have our sign that's going to come down. Let's take a look at this really quickly. If the sign goes up here, then these are kind of, they're hitting just kind of right under there, right? So we're not covering the words. That's the most important. We also don't really want to cover too much, though, of the really cute pumpkins down at the bottom. But I think this will work perfectly. We can always kind of tilt them and move it around, but I think that's going to be great. I am excited, even though I've changed my mind on this. Okay, so let's go around. I'm gonna move it so that I can do 2 sets at a time. Okay, this will be our next set, and you can even just undo it ahead of time. Like I said, it's not popping out. We're gonna bring this over, lining up our ribbons. Okay. All right, come on, grab it. The hands don't want to work. The mind is ready. The hands are like, nope, not happening, honey. All right, bend it. Here's our place to pinch. Bring it in. Do this twice. There's also mesh tubing that people have used as well. You can kind of put that in here if you like to kind of add a little bit more visual interest in there. But that's kind of been going away in terms of popularity. Definitely not the metallic, but there's like a jute tubing that looks really nice sometimes as well. But this also is a great place to put in florals. Okay, we're going to talk about that later, about what you can do to add additional things into this, and that would be one. I like to twist them into the branches so that way it gets an extra hold. I'm in Chicago, and we are the Windy City for a reason. It gets very, very windy here. Well, okay, I'm outside Chicago. I'm not cool enough to live in Chicago. But yeah, we get, well, it hasn't been that bad the last couple of years, to be honest. We used to get bad ice storms and stuff, and it hasn't really been happening. Which I'm like, yay, I don't want an ice storm. It's hard to make plans here in Chicago, like during the winter, because you're like, well, yeah, I'll try to make it, but it really depends on whether my car is sliding down the street by itself or not. Tail is back. There we go. Okay. Go. There you go. Oh, very, very nice. Very nice. Okay. I do, if you notice, I'm always pulling the ribbons the same way. The sage and the top of the sage goes to the right. The sage goes to the left. The leaves go to the right. And then I reverse that on the bottom. It's leaves to the left and sage to the right on the bottom. Okay. Just for consistency. That's how I like to do it. 1, 2, 3. Bend it over. Scrunch it up. Maybe I should make that into a new song. Bend it over, scrunch it up. Right. All right, here we go. Couple more on the top. I don't know why I have such a hard time grabbing the scalloped edge. Right. Pinch. 1. Twist. Twist and separate. I was going to say lift and separate, but that's not what the ribbons are for. Oh, this is going to look so pretty. I'm really glad I decided to add tails of the 1.5 inch. It's adding in that rust color that's so pretty. When we're all done too, we're going to go through, we're going to pull on all the ribbons to make sure that they start curling under. I just do that last because you're going to be working with this and you're going to be bumping into stuff and whatnot. So we're going to save that final fluff step for the end. It's the equivalent of spraying your hair with hairspray before you go out, right? Just giving it that final once over. Does it look good? Yes. Okay. There we go. All right. Okay. So this is it for the ribbons on the top. Now, ribbons on the bottom. Similar concept, but done a little differently. Okay. We're going to make that X instead of going this way, we're going to make it go that way. So it's wider. It's a wide X. Okay. I'm going to put it in and then I'll show you, I'll turn the wreath sideways and show you what that looks like. So here I go. I'm still layering it the same way, bending it the same way, pinching it the same way. But now when I go in here, I put it in here, I'm going this way with it. Okay. Okay. So I've put it in and it looks like that. And now I'm going to just separate them out. I'm still making my X shape, but it is a wider X. I'm still going up on the left with the sage and down on the right with the sage. Okay. Or you can choose to do the other way, right? You can choose to do however you want. But this is what it is looking like going this way, right? You can always twist it and have it go more up and down if that's how you like it. I mean, you can, we can have it go more this way. So kind of show you what that would look like. Okay. It's your choices. You do. Sorry. Let me do a better job of showing you this. I need 2 hands for this. And then you can decide how you want to do it. Everyone's got their own method. Everyone's got their own preferences. I mean, there's really no right or wrong. It's however you like it. All right. That's what it looks like going the other way. I just prefer having it going wide ways because there's more ruffles on the bottom. And so we don't want to have gaps really between the ribbons. So the wider we can make it so the ribbons almost touch each other, the better. Okay. So that's how I'm going to continue this the rest of the way. But you do yours how you want to. And I would also love it if you messaged me or posted a picture of your wreath when you're done putting it on Facebook. You can tag me at Sweet Aria Decor on Facebook because I would love to see what everybody does with their wreath. How are you going to make it you? How are you going to zhuzh it, And if anyone knows how to spell zhuzh, I would love to know because that's sometimes I lay awake at night wondering that. The silly oddball questions I ask myself. How do you spell zhuzh? I don't know. Is it an S? Is it a Z? Is it a J? I don't. All right. So that's what I've got so far with 2. Okay, you can see how it's taking up wider space and the ribbons are almost touching. All right. So go finish this around. Thank you for hanging in there with me. If you guys have gone this far all in one day, I'm super proud of you because this is work. It is physical work to stand here and bend and do all this stuff. So hang in there and don't feel bad if you got to break it into 2 days. Because believe me, when I'm not filming stuff, sometimes I break this into 2 days, especially when I made those big jack-o'-lanterns. Because I did those kind of in groups. And I had to mesh to 3 of them at a time. So sometimes you just got to bunch it up. It gets stuff done quicker that way. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Bending and folding. Up. I can't wait to be able to hang this on my door. Now, I do not have a very good front door setup. I've got a great door. The doors themselves are great. My porch, I don't have a covered porch. Everything is very exposed to the elements, but I don't have a screen door, fortunately. But it's very exposed. So anything I put on there, when I hang it from my wreath hook, I usually will have a suction cup. You can get those suction cup wreath hooks for Christmas. I put one down further down on the back, and I will either have a zip tie or something where that hook, hang it upside down, where the hook will be like this, and then the wreath is hanging down this way, and then it grabs that, so it keeps the wreath from swinging, okay? That's just a
pro tip on how to keep your wreath from flying off your door, especially if you are in a windy climate. Cow. Nice. Oh, it's looking so pretty. It looks like fall. Feels like fall. I love it. And those little Brock's Mellow Cream pumpkins are out too. They're like candy corn, but like they taste a little different. They're more orangey. I don't know, but I love those things. So like it's Mellow Cream pumpkin season. Whoa! And my dentist is like, "Yay! I'll see you in a couple weeks with the cabin." Yes, you will. Snuggly. All right. So just to give you an update, here's where we've gone. Okay. And now we've still got some more spaces to go on the side. I know it's not the best angle to see on the side, but that's okay. Doing my best. I don't have multiple cameras, so I have one Mevo camera going over my head. Just thought for this method, it would be easier to show you guys an overhead view than it would be to show you kind of a side view. Right? Especially if you're newer at wreath making. Some people will do better when it's a top-down view. I'm also going to have another kit coming soon. It is, I'm so excited for it. It's a gingerbread kit. It's gingerbread, and it's a chef's head. It's stuffed, so it's going to use a stuffed attachment instead of a sign. I'm super excited about it. I've sourced items from multiple places to put into that baby. It's going to be very, very cute. But also, again, like this, kind of a limited number. So you're releasing that, but I will have a video for that as well. For me, the hardest part is making the videos. I can put together the kit, pick out the items, go pick it up at where I pick it up at, about an hour ride each way. Then I don't have to pay for shipping, so that helps. But it's getting the videos done. Ugh. I do have written instructions also. You will notice that this did come with a set of written instructions. Just because I like to make sure people sometimes do better when they have something written to see. That's how I work. I don't work well when I hear it. I have to read it. So save that. And if you ever lose your written instructions, just email me, support@sweetariadecor.com, and I can email you an electronic version of that. Maybe you want to write on it and go step by step and check off things as you do. So everyone's got their own process. People learn in different ways. Let's check out it. Yeah. All right. Yo, this is so cute. I love this. All right, this is our last set of ribbon tails, everybody. Our last set. Here we go. Do this in there. Go. That. Boom. Boom. All right, our last set of ribbon tails. Opening it up. Putting it in. Retwisting. Okay. I know it seems to take a little while, but that's okay. Oh, this is your quiet time, your basic time. Reflect on things, or don't. Sometimes you don't want to think about anything. I usually watch Netflix while I'm making stuff. Okay. All right, here we go. This is what it looks like on the outside. Okay. There we go. Now I'm going to bring over our sign. Remember, we're going to attach our sign to the top. Okay. So I'm going to rotate it down just so I can work closer to me. So it's got the pipe cleaners on here. We're going to feed it through. Okay, and I'm going to try to do it where I'm looking at this at like the 5 and 7 o'clock positions, but this is 6. Okay. And I'm going to try to feed the pipe cleaners over right onto here, like right on the other side, because this is already gathered up for you right here. It's an easy place to feed the pipe cleaners right through. Okay, you already got that spot where everything's narrow and pushed in there. We're gonna feed it right through there, and then we're gonna flip the wreath over, and then we're gonna twist the pipe cleaners, okay? So right now I'm going over the one on the right, and I'm gonna put my hand underneath here just to kind of grab the pipe cleaner and guide it through. Okay. And now I've got the one that went over. So I've got one under and one over. All right, and I'm going to give it a little bit of a twist just to hold it in place. All right, and then I'm going to move over to the other one. And again, just kind of straddling that set of branches. So I'm straddling that. I'm straddling where the ribbons are. Okay. Push it down a little bit. Now I'm able to grab both pieces of pipe cleaners. Just going to flip it over. Okay. And you want to straddle at least one bar of this wreath frame. You can do two as well if that seems a little bit easier. Maybe I'll do that on that side. All right. I find it's nice to twist it up against the metal frame. That gives it a nice secure spot. Okay. I'm going to do that kind of. I'm going to switch around and do that on the other side. All right. Ooh, that one's a little bit uneven. All right. But I'm twisting it around metal frame. If there's a lot of excess like I have on this one side, I can give it a little trim. You don't really have to do too much with it. Then we're going to take, see there, we've got our little things. We're going to just take it and you can just push it right into the frame. Push it right back into here, or you can take it and you can wrap it around. All right. It's good. Now I'm going to flip it back over. And here our sign is on there secure. They didn't go anywhere. Okay. Now I do want to watch where my ribbons are around the sign. So the ones that are behind the sign, you're never going to see them. So I'm going to scoot those around. Okay. Just to add extra ribbon over here. Okay. And then kind of make sure we're spreading this out. All right. Because there's no use in having beautiful ribbon tails in here if they're hiding right behind. And then you can take some of those branches too if they're popping out, just kind of bend them out of the way so we don't see them. Right? Okay. Come around. I'm going to do that with the ones that are behind the top of the house as well. Okay. Going to bring them out. So now I've got both sets. So this is actually kind of setting up more like the ones on the bottom, where it's going to kind of be more like a wider X shape, okay? But we're just going to kind of alternate it. So I'm doing leaf, scalloped sage, and then leaf, scalloped sage, okay? There we go. It's looking really pretty there. And then this one here, I'm going to do the same thing. Let's go find those ribbons that are behind the house. All right. Where are they? Where did they go? Here we are. Sorry. You're really in there. All right, let's bring them out here. Come on, babies. Come on out. There you are. Come to mama. All right. Just kind of pulling them out. So if you've got material in there, I mean, if it's behind a sign, what purpose does that serve? It's wasted. You want to see all the beautiful material. All right. Coming around to our sides here. Now here, you can kind of bring some of this down. All right, I can bring it out. I don't want to really cover too much what's on the side, so I'm going to bend this a little bit just so our X is in a little bit of a different shape. All right. Bringing it around. Okay. Now, the reason that I wanted to do at 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock is when I flip it around now, it's at like 1 and 11, which this is 12. I'm coming down to it. And here, this is you should have one at the bottom center. And this is where we're going to attach our bow. This is also where we're going to bring in these. Okay. We're going to bring this in. We're going to bring this in. And then we're going to have our bow in the middle. Okay. So it's going to kind of come like this. In order, though, for me to know how wide my bow is, like I want to do the bow first, and then we will come in and lay it on top and then position these to see what we want to do. Okay. So I'm going to move this to the side right now so that we can work on our bow. Now, I will tell you, without shame, I have to use a bow making tool. I have hand issues, and more importantly, I just really stink at making a hand bow. I'm not gonna lie, I really stink at it, guys. It is not my forte, not in any way. So I use a bow making tool. Now, this is the Easy Bows Design Pro. This is also linked in my link tree, but I love this. It's got plastic dowels. It's extra wide, so these don't come out, and it's got a taller spool. But there is a smaller wood version of this. You can also find similar versions of that, a little bow making tool. I think $9.99 on Amazon. It doesn't have that spool holder, but it's got the similar kind of concept, and it really does help. So now, when we were layering our ribbon, we started with the sage on the bottom, and then the leaf, and then the 1.5 inch. We're going to do that same thing this time. Now, fortunately, this is not a directional pattern. It looks okay that way. It looks okay that way. We don't have to worry about which way the leaves are facing. And I did that on purpose because directional ribbon is the bane of my existence, and I don't want to have to straddle you guys who haven't figured that out. All right, so what I'm going to do is I am going to dovetail this, okay? And I want to figure out how long do I want my tail. So let's bring our wreath back, okay? Let's take a look. If I have a bow here, how long do I want the tail? And I kind of want it to come down, I'd say about that much. So we are looking at, we're going to call it a 10-inch tail, okay? A 10-inch tail. Okay, so, and I just took it out. All right, so 10 inches on the tail, and then we'll see how many loops that we can get with whatever is remaining on our spool, okay? So it hits at 10 inches. Okay, I'm going to do a pinch and twist, okay? Even that's hard to tell on a solid, but this is the back, okay? And I'm going to bring this loop over, and I think we are going to do, let's do a 7-inch loop, okay? I think that'll be good. And then pinch and twist. Okay, so now we're looking at the back side on the right. We're going to bring this over, and we're going to make a 7-inch loop over here, okay? Pushing it back down. Now I'm going to pinch and twist again, and we're going to repeat that again. 7-inch loop, pinch and twist, 7-inch loop, pinch and twist, and then we're going to be at the end of our thing. So we're going to have 2 7-inch loops with a 10-inch tail. Now I'm going to cut it past 10 inches, okay, a little bit past 10, like 10.5, because I want to dovetail it, okay? So we're going to do a little bit of boop, okay? That, you know, see this. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you're ever putting together like a quick little bow with just tails, you know, keep all of your similar stuff together. Put it in a baggie. Put all your similar colored stuff in a baggie, and it will save that. So there we go. All right, so now we're going to pull these tails down. And because this tail comes down, it wants this loop to go up, and then this will come down. We're going to do the opposite on this side. This is going to go down, and that one's going to come up, okay? So this is what your bow should look like right now. 2 7-inch loops and 2 10-inch tails. Now we're going to start with our next pattern. And we're going to cut this. Okay. Now that was a 10-inch on the tail. This time I'm going to do a 9-inch on the tail. Okay. 9 inches on the tail. Pinching and twisting. Okay. Pinch and twist. And then instead of doing 7 inches, I'm going to do a 6-inch on a loop. Okay. 6-inch. Pinch and twist. So looking at the back side. It's easier now to see the backside, right? Yeah, you can tell with this pattern, it's easier. Okay? But this is the other reason why I like to use the bow making tool is because it really helps me make sure I get my loop size exactly perfect. I pinch and twist. Let's do another 6-inch loop. Okay. And then a pinch and twist here. And then another 6-inch loop on this side. All right. I've also made bows where I used a chip clip to hold this. If you don't have a bow making tool and you want something to help you with that, use a chip clip. You know, it helps. Okay. Now we're going to cut this off a little past 9. Okay. A little past 9. All right. There we go. Let's see how much was left on here. You have about 35 inches left on here. So you could do something with the rest of this. You can make a small bow to put elsewhere in there if you like. Okay, so again, I'm going to bring down the tails. Okay. Up, down, then on the left, go down, then up. Now, what we want to do with layering our loops here is we don't want them right over. If you did that, you can't see the sage. So we want to bring this up. So leaf, sage, leaf, sage, leaf, sage. Okay? Leaf, sage, leaf, sage. Wait, no. Sorry, wrong way. Leaf, sage, leaf, sage, leaf, sage. There we go. Okay? Now, this last one is going to be just a little slightly different at the end because we're going to put a little loop in the center, okay? So here we come with our 1.5 inch. Okay? I've dovetailed, and this will be a 7-inch tail, okay? Pinch and twist. Now we're going to do loops at 5 inches. I'm coming in 1 inch every time I add a new ribbon. There's 5 inches. Pinch and twist. 5 inches. Pinch and twist. Bring it over. 5 inches. Pinch and twist. At some point, it's easier just to look at the where the ribbon is, the loop below it. Here we go. Now, I've done 2 loops on either side. I get more. So I'm thinking we're going to add 3 loops on this one. So a 3rd loop just for fun. You don't have to. Okay? But now, instead of doing a tail, I want something cute in the center of this. I want to have a little bit of a loop in here, okay? So I'm going to pinch and twist. I'm going to bring this over. I'm bringing it back to the right. All right? And I'm leaving about 3 fingers worth, which seems to measure 2 inches. Leaving that over there, okay? And then I'm going to cut this one off just past 7 and dovetail. And we can always compare when we're done and pulling it back together, where it ends up. But this tail, we're going to kick that one. When we're done, you won't even see it, okay? So this is going to be our center loop. I am now going to this is the pipe cleaner. I also personally like to use a zip tie around it and then put the pipe cleaner behind it. But because I'm not providing it in the kit, we're going to show you just how to use it with that. So we're going to pull all this up, okay? I'm going to pull up, but I'm pushing down from the bottom. It's a giant BLT sandwich, and you don't want any of your layers flying out, right? All right, pinch it nice and tight, okay? I'm going to take this pipe cleaner, and I'm pushing it between my fingers, okay? See how it comes out between there? All right? I'm going to bring it around, find out, like, where's the middle point, right? It looks even that way, right? Guys, I just push it down on the table, okay? Pull it super tight, and then wrap it like at least twice, okay? So then you've got your bow, right? It looks a little flat. It looks a little lifeless. That's because we have to fluff it. Here we go. We're going to fluff. All right. So I'm going to start by bringing my fingers through these loops on the bottom. Okay. Start with the bottom. Now I'm going to do the leaves. Okay. That's looking good. Now it's time for the top layer. So I'm going to put that one right in the center. Okay. Now I have 3 loops. Okay. This top one stays in the middle. Then I go on either side. Okay. Stays in the middle. They go on either side. Okay. This is why wired ribbon is so important to use, because it helps give you that nice thing. Now our two tails kind of came down the same side. The bottom one, I'm moving that bottom one over to the left, okay? And then that right one is going to stay there. Once you get this on your wreath, they're never going to be able to know that they came out of the same spot, right? Okay, so here's our bow. Here's a very pretty loopy bow. I'm going to braid the wreath back. I'm bringing wreathy back. Hello. Okay. Now remember, we're not putting it on just yet. We have to put in our extra little sprays. Okay. So we have this and this. So let's kind of, I'm going to make this easy, right? We're not going to cut off too much. We're not going to do too much. We're going to try to make this easy on you guys. Okay. Now, do we want the two pumpkins that way, or do we want it that way? I think I like the orange going up, okay? Notice I flipped it so I've got the orange kind of going up on the same side, okay? So this looks good. I like this. I like that these pumpkins are kind of hitting right here, and they're kind of covering where these little twists are, okay? I like that a lot because we can actually open these up and help us get it in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo these twists, okay? I'm going to undo the twists. I'm going to set those right in there. Then I'm going to redo the twists, okay? Boom. So now, hey, that's in there. I'm actually going to bring these down because we've got a bow going over the top. So I'm going to bring these tails down. All right. All right. So you've got these in here. Now, don't fret. I know this is sticking out. We're going to cut these. We're going to cut these in a little bit. All right. Now I'm going to open up this again. The next set I'm going to open up. Okay. I'm going to set it in here. Now, I'm not going to have it go across the two of those, okay? I want it to just grab the big main stem, okay? And I'm just going to give it a nice little twist, okay? And there that goes. And then we can bend this a little bit. Give it a little bend, right? It doesn't have to look like it's going straight out. We don't need that. So let's go do this on this side, okay? Putting this in here. And I'm just going through the one main stem. I'm not doing both, right? We don't want it to look like it's choking. We don't need that. All right. And there we go. And these are kind of coming out up by those. That's looking good. These are in there. It's nice and secure. You can hit it with a dab of glue if you want. I'm doing that just as an extra little precaution because I have it. But this way, if you do it this way and you don't have a hot glue gun, it's still good for you. Okay. But the loops are going to cover this. Okay. So we're not going to see where I just added that glue. But I'm going to let that dry for a second because I don't want to go stick my hand in there and it getting burned. If you know me, you know that I am infamous for burning myself with hot glue in a myriad of painful ways. Or cutting my finger open on a live. Okay. There we go. This is looking really good. There is another set. I mean, if you wanted to, you could put another set of these through there, but I think just kind of bending it up this way is good enough. Just kind of give it a little bit of a bend if you want, kind of follow a bit more of a curve, right? So stinking cute. All right, but they're in there. They're not going anywhere. And I just stuck my finger in the glue. Okay, now it's time to put on our bow. Okay, it has been fluffed. We're going to take our bow. Remember how it's got the two pipe cleaners. So one's going to go over here, one's going to go over, and one's going to come under. So again, we are straddling this right here. We are straddling it because I can stick my fingers through here and feel right through. I'm not piercing the mesh I'm not going to pierce the mesh with the pipe cleaner. Just going to go right over through. And I am going to put my hand behind here. Okay, so I'm pulling down pipe cleaner with that hand, and then I'm going to straddle and go over, grab the next ones. Okay. It's looking good. I'm liking it, but I am going to flip it over so that I can catch all of these goodies. I got my pipe cleaner pieces. Come on, listen to me. I said I got my pipe cleaner. Don't make me a liar. It's making me a liar. Oh, all right. Here we go. Sorry. So I've got long nails and it's a little difficult. It's okay. All right. So I'm just going to take this and now I'm just going to twist the pipe cleaner. I'm twisting it right around here. If I may actually include 4 pipe cleaners with this. That way you can have 2 pipe cleaners twisted together. So it's not as hard to try to push them through. But I've done that. I've twisted it right here. It's together. And it's just against the metal frame. Nothing is going to snag it. It's perfect. Let's fluff it over. Now we have to refluff our bow. And we got to watch where we put our loops, okay? And again, we have the two leaf prints are together. There we go. There we go. Okay, and then it's important to just get the center ones. Take these, go. There we go. There we go. All right, we're going to run our fingers all down these tails. So go through. We're going to take our fingers all through the tails, okay? Just run them down because what that does is that makes the ribbon curl underneath. And it makes it lay really nice and really pretty. All right. Through bottom. I'm trying to do this really, really quick so I don't take up too much more of your time. But take your time doing this. Make sure that you've got everything because then it doesn't lay flat. It also gives it a bit more dimension, a bit more texture. All right. If you've gone through all the work of making this wreath, then you want to make sure that it lays nice and pretty. Going around. Right. I'm so happy for how this turned out. I saw it in my head when I was ordering stuff there. My friend Liz from Wild Wing Design helped me pick some stuff out. It was fabulous having her there. She was a great sounding board. So thank you, Liz, for your assistance with this. Couldn't have done it without you. Okay. All right, so we're back down to the center. Now, like I said before, if you want to get some florals, then all you would do is snip them. You can just take some hot glue and just poke them in here. You poke them wherever, these are great spots to just poke some right in there. You can undo those branches, put it in there, add hot glue, wrap it back in there. So there's a lot you can do with this. Expand upon this if you want. But this is our Gather Here with Grateful Hearts wreath. Expand out so you can see the full wreath here. And I think this is one of my favorite ones I've ever done. I love the colors. I love this sage color. I love it so much. It's a fall color, but it's a color, Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I am so proud of you for finishing this wreath. I do have lots of other wreath kits either currently available or will be coming available at sweetariadecor.com. So please go check that out. You can also find my finished designs there too. If you decided, you know what, I just want to get my wreaths already made, then girl or guy, I can hook you up. Absolutely. Okay. Thank you so much. And I hope you have a great time crafting, everybody. Thank you, my sweeties. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe. You can shop my store at sweetariadecor.com and you can follow me all over social media.